Hi everyone, it's Nichol Spohr and welcome back to my channel. This is my quilting and Flosstube video number 3. Thank you so much for joining me today. Before we get started with Flosstube, I do want to say that it is May 30th, 2022, so it is Memorial Day here in the United States, and I want to take a minute to remember and honor those heroes who, without their sacrifice, we wouldn't enjoy the freedoms that we have today. That being said, I hope everyone is enjoying their weekend and long weekend here in the US. For everyone else, it's probably business as usual. I am overwhelmed, you guys, so overwhelmed with all of the love and support and the comments and just everything. The best comments I get, whether it be here on YouTube or Instagram, are from you that say, I cross-stitched 20 years ago, or I used to cross-stitch before I had little kids, or when my kids were little, and I have not picked it up in some time. And you've inspired me to pick it up. There's nothing better. So thank you guys again for all of the lovely comments. You totally make my day. You have no idea. So this is actually coming a day later than I intended. I do want to let you know from now on, Flosstube will go live at 7 a.m. on Sundays. So I am actually going to film it Saturdays. It will go up on Sunday. And so that gives me some time to add all the links, add all the information. I had intended to do this yesterday, and we kind of impromptu decided to have a family get together and barbecue, and so I didn't. I worked on some things. You can see I left this space as is. I still have not moved my computer to where I'm actually going to film, but that's okay. But I do want to let you know you can plan on that going forward. Okay, the big thing this week is question and answers. You guys, these are all of the questions. Most of them I tried. If I've missed your question, definitely leave it below. I got lots of questions. Now, I did try to answer most of these in the comments. Some of them I didn't, just because it was a lot of repeat questions. So the two main questions I received are how I store my floss and how I keep it while I'm working, which I wish I could give you a better answer. I'm going to show you what I'm doing, but we'll see. And then the other one is time management. So I will tell you, as far as planning and time management, I am going to share that next week. And we'll talk a little bit more about that as I get into the question and answer. Life update, I guess I should say first. I completely forgot. I did have my knee appointment, my 2-week post-op checkup. I'm doing so fantastic, and it's really been probably in the last 4 days or so. I'm actually feeling so much more like myself. I'm not waking up in the middle of the night with pain, because the pain kind of starts in my hip area and travels down to my knee, which is very common. The quad muscles and things required to make your knee, to move that kneecap, are what I have to work on. And so I feel lots better. So thank you guys for all of your thoughts and your prayers. I appreciate it. I definitely feel it. I'm continuing with my PT. I'm doing my PT at home. I've started taking little tiny 10-minute walks with Odin, which I had a request to show Odin. So at the end of this video, if I remember, I will have him come up here and you can see him, my little fur baby. And he's doing much better as well. Both of the dogs, actually. Brody had started a new medication. I do want to thank everyone for your suggestions and everything. I actually have more of these for the dogs from everything I received from you guys, so that I have stuff to talk to the vet about, or if I need to go see someone else, a different vet, I have that information. So thank you guys so much. Whatever Odin's on has cleared him up, his ears and the skin, so that's good. I hope it continues. And then Brody's new allergy medicine seems to be working, crossing my fingers. So that's about all of my life updates. It's pretty quiet here. We're getting ready to kind of start summer schedule this tomorrow, so it will be a little busier, but It's all good. Okay, question and answer time. So Marlene wants to know how I keep track of my projects, how do I decide what to work on, and do you have a planner to work on certain things on certain days? Yes and no. So yes, I do have a planner. I actually have a planning channel here on YouTube. It has been neglected for probably about 6 to 8 weeks. I know I just talked to someone on Instagram who was like, where have you been? Why haven't you uploaded any new planning videos? And I'm going to give you the answer I gave her. I thought I could keep up with it when I hurt my knee, and I honestly couldn't. It was, a lot of you probably know, a lot of you are here because of card making. Card making, paper crafting is my full-time job. And because of that, that was about all I could manage. Standing on my leg hurt, and I do stand to craft. That's where my filming center is. It would be really difficult to try to move that somewhere else. I would bring a stool in when I had to, but literally I kind of hid that from a lot of you, and there were days I felt better than others, but it hurt. It was hard. I was tired. I did not feel well. It's exhausting. And I know a lot of you have reached out and said that you also have had knee injuries or knee surgeries and just how hard it's been. So sorry about the planning channel. I do have plans to start videos back a little bit later this week. So if you are interested in that, definitely check that out. Yes, I do kind of plan. I hadn't really planned my cross stitch and quilting until, well, my cross stitch. My quilting is, I am behind, but that's okay. But my cross stitch for Stitch Mania, I did. I actually downloaded this calendar from Fat Quarter Shop, and I think you can download these for any month. And I kind of wrote out what I thought I would work on. Now, did I stick to this? No. But it did keep me motivated to work on different things. So I kind of had, you know, all the little things I wanted to work on and what day I wanted to work on them. And when we get through or go to my WIPS and I share that, we'll talk a little bit more about it. I had 4 main projects for Stitch Mania. One of them didn't get much love, as you guys know, and we're going to talk about it in a bit, but this is what I used. So this is going to be the basic of basic. I would totally recommend downloading this. I probably, not even probably, I am going to download the June one just to give me a rough sketch. I will be showing you my actual planner for June in next week's Flosstube, so next Sunday's Flosstube. So stay tuned for that. So if you want to see kind of, because going forward, I want to be much more intentional with my planning. So that was Marlene's question. I generally work on about a certain cross-stitch project about 2 days before I switch to a new one. And it keeps me motivated. I used to always just do one at a time. I think I mentioned that maybe in the last video. Working on a different project every few days just keeps me interested in stitching, and eventually you get it done. Melissa kind of said, I often refer to having projects slated to be worked on a certain day. Do you keep a calendar? So it's much the same question. I will be sharing more about that next week. And she also said, have you ever thought of doing a small stitched or quilted block that you use on a card instead of pattern paper or an ink blended background? And no. I know that stitching dies are so popular, and I have done very, very minimal of that in the past for card making, and I'm going to tell you I don't enjoy it. I don't enjoy stitching on paper. I think the cards are beautiful. I love looking at them, but I have no interest in really doing that. So, but I know a lot of people do, and man, like Spellbinders has some beautiful stitching dies and things like that. So definitely, if that is your jam, go for it, because I love them. I just don't have interest in it, mostly because I know not everyone throws cards away, but I do know some people do, and I would have a very hard time spending that amount of time on a card. I mean, I spend a lot of time on cards. I know that. I don't know why. For me, stitching is something that is, and quilting is a hobby that I personally enjoy. So it's a lot of things for me, or quilts I give as gifts or things like that. Susan wants to know time management, workflow tips. You seem to get a lot accomplished. I am pretty organized. It wouldn't look like it, you looking at my office, but I have top three things I need to get done every day, and I do those first. As I mentioned, I know for you, a lot of you, card making is a hobby and not a job. So you're going to have to balance your time differently if you also like to cross stitch or quilt. For me, card making is my day job. I do not want to do it on the weekends or in the evenings. There are always those times I have to stamp timber, for example. I try to do a lot of lives in the evenings. For my Patreon, we do lives in the evenings. So there are exceptions to that. But for the most part, I keep work during work hours. And that's different from day to day. If I achieve the goal, the top like 3 things I need to do every day, sometimes it might be 2 things, sometimes it might be 4, whatever. Once I achieve that, then I can do my hobby. And my hobbies are cross stitch and quilting. As far as time management, I think I mentioned this maybe in my last video or the first one. For cross stitch, whatever project I've chosen to work on, I try to spend an hour with that an evening. And if I can spend more time, great. Like if I'm watching a baseball game or something and I can spend more time cross-stitching, I will. Sometimes I'll watch the baseball game here on my computer in my office and I'll quilt instead, or I will cut fabric instead. When the work's done for the day, sometimes I will quilt. I will cut pieces for a quilt block, and so that I have them all ready to go, so that on the weekend I can sit and quilt, because I do tend to keep most of the quilting for the weekend. Katie wants to know, amazed at all I can get done. Do you have a secret? I've kind of covered that. Sleepless for way too long says, how do you have time for everything? Do you ever sleep? Yes. So this is something, I answered this in the comments, but I have received this question even before I get this, or before I started Flosstube, just in general. And I will tell you, I prioritize sleep. I go to bed between 10 and 11 every night, sometimes earlier. Last night it was 9:30. I prioritize sleep. I also try to be very scheduled with that. I did not always prioritize sleep, but in the last few years, I have realized the importance. I am much more productive during waking hours if I prioritize sleep. So I try to, something that I think helps a lot is plan what you want to do the next day. Have it ready to go. So if that's cards, maybe have the product out. When I made my last project for the last video I shared, it was a Christmas tag set. I didn't have like everything out ready to go, but I had planned my dies and I had them laid out, and I went to bed thinking about it. So when I got up that next day to work on it, I was able to just kind of whip it out. Same goes for cross stitch. I will kit everything together so that when I have a minute, I can just sit down and do it. Or if I need to take it with me in the car, if I have somewhere I have to sit and wait, I have it with me and I can put a few stitches in. Quilting, as I just mentioned, I will cut all the pieces when I have time, and then on the weekends I will put the blocks together. So I'm just really, really intentional with my time, but I do prioritize sleep. And then she also said, do you do your own quilting, or do you quilt with your credit card, as Eleanor Burns likes to say? That one. I do not do my own quilting. I think I mentioned it in one of my other Flosstube videos. I don't enjoy that process at all. I know someone kind of left me a comment and they were like, I love the whole thing. I love the process. And that's great. I am not saying that you should do as I do. That is not a part I enjoy. And in order to give myself more time for the parts I do, I hire that out. Caitlin at Knot and Thread is who I use. She's amazing. I love how my quilts turn out. So that I have her do that part. I know the same person loves binding. And I don't. I do it. And in fact, I have a quilt finish where I've added it, but do what you love. If you need to hire that part out too, go for it. Whatever you do to be able to finish the project. You don't have to love the whole process, but some people really, really do. And I know there's strong feelings about that, but I am a huge proponent of do what you love. Carrie says, can you, this is going to be these are the two most often asked questions. So this next group, I'm going to kind of combine all of y'all's questions together. Can you share how you keep your cross-stitching threads? Anne wants to know how I store my floss. Zigzag wants to know that. Stephanie wants to know that. Oh, I think I put Stephanie's question on there. Deborah, Julie. Yep. So lots of questions about my floss because I mentioned I don't like to bobbinate. That being said, I do still, but the boxes are messy. I've gone through them. I've needed embroidery floss for some other projects. Like I said, there were a few things I had stitched for card making, or most of the time for some felt projects I've done, like little felt ornaments and stuff. And so they're messy, but they are still pretty organized, and I have dipped into these. I even started to bobbinate a few. That's why I say I don't like it. I may still have to. I don't know. We will see as I have to start putting things away. I will tell you that I think you can see over here that there's a drawer open. These are some little clear bins, and you can see I have them by color. I only pulled 3 of them. I only actually have 4. So I've got like pinks and reds, and these I'm sure I bought for something and I have no idea what. So there's some randoms. Orange, yellow, and I think probably some browns. And I do want to mention, so you'll notice this looks like DMC only. This is going to have like some classic color works. I know for a fact these are leftovers from like Bats and Booze and from the autumn cross stitch design I did. So there's some classic color works. They're on their little cards, and I just keep them in here like this. I did dip into these when I was looking for some colors and kitting out some projects, and was able to find some and not have to go buy more. And greens and blues, and then I have black and white, and that's the only one I didn't pull out. They fit in my drawer. They don't actually stack. They're single, and I just open it up and I look through them, see if there's a color I want. So it's not, I found it worked really well. I thought that I wouldn't like it because going by number or searching by number is great, and it is great for DMC, but I've been using so much more classic color works or Weeks Dye Works or Gentle Arts or any of those fancy flosses. They come on the cards. I don't know how I will store them going forward, like as I finish projects and I have leftovers. So that might be an evolving process, but for now I do have some old containers, probably like most of you, with my DMC bobbinated. I just don't like spending hours doing that. I would rather just be doing a project, but we'll see. We'll see how, as I finish some of these projects and I have to put it away, I may bobbinate the leftover so that I can pull from it for projects. But that is a very common question. And then the other question, and I'll pull one here that is done. How do I keep it when I'm working? So I did mention I kit. So this was for the summer home that I just finished for Fat Quarter Shop. I bought these rings from Amazon, and like this was all classic color works, and I keep them on these rings like this. This is my leftover, so this will all need to be put back into those, which I'll be doing after this video. These are the little floss, I think, are these called floss drops? Floss Biddies. Oh yeah, Floss Biddies floss drops from Fat Quarter Shop, and I actually have these in lots of different styles. Sorry, my phone was ringing, it distracted me. I have like some Halloween ones and things. I may put like some DMC on these, we will see, like by color, and keep them on rings, maybe on a pegboard or something. I haven't really decided. I don't usually do these in the projects very often, but I think they're cute, and I've bought several of them. I'm gonna stop buying them because I don't ever use them. Let me see. Zigzag also wants to know how do you choose fabric to use for each project. A lot of times I'll use a suggested fabric. I have come to the realization that I don't think I like stitching on linen, at least not right now. Now I'm going to show you an FFO that I did stitch on linen and I loved. It was a little tricky, but it wasn't that bad. And it might just be the darker linens I don't love stitching on. But I think I was really trying to stitch on linen because I thought it was better than Aida. I love Aida. That's what I learned on. So I definitely have decided to stop being an Aida hater, which I heard on Java Girl Stitch's channel. I was rewatching a bunch of her older floss tubes where she said that and it made me laugh. And I'm like, you know what? That's true. I just need to get over myself. I like stitching on it. My favorite though to stitch on right now is 25 count Lugana even weave. So if you want something maybe a little fancier than Aida, 25 count Lugana is fantastic, and I stitch 2/2 on that. So I say pick what you like, use the Fat Quarter Shop calculator to see how big your project will end up, and go from there. Don't worry about thinking that you have to stitch on linen if you don't love it. I'm just not loving it. I don't love it at all. I've tried, and I'm not saying I'll never do it, but I'm just really trying to enjoy the process. So pick something you enjoy. I know a lot of people really do enjoy it. So I'm not saying not to stitch on it either. Stitch on what you love, but try lots of things. I have also tried a lot of things over this last year, and so it's really helped me kind of determine what I like and what I don't. Let me see. I think we can flip this over. Julie wanted to say, do you mind showing how you store your floss? So I've showed that. Linda says, I've never felt confident enough to stitch on linen as suggested for the Lizzie Kate patterns. Could you perhaps recommend an even weave that is comparable to linen that as a beginner I could try? I am going to be stitching the Lizzie Kate Christmas rules and Halloween rules on 25 count mushroom Lugana. I've already prepped my fabric. We'll show you that here in a minute when we get to kitting and haul. I know I showed you those patterns last week and I showed you the fabric. Even weave is the way to go. 25 count is going to be a little bit bigger. Definitely make sure that that's something size-wise that you think you want to do, but honestly, I love 25 count Lugana. Love it. I've actually stitched a little project. I'll show you a new start with that. So that's what I would suggest. Anything in the 25 count Lugana. Danielle, there's a little shop that I visited that sells card making supplies and also fabric, and the store owner makes some of her cards with fabric instead of paper for backgrounds and embellishments. Have you tried that? No, I have not. Linda and Sharon, and I feel like I had somebody else, but I don't have it on here, want to know what Flosstube means. I had no idea either. I actually watched Fat Quarter Shop and they had a Flosstube and I thought that was so cute, whatever. I didn't realize there was a whole part of YouTube called Flosstube, and I have gone down the rabbit hole. There's a ton of Flosstube channels. It basically is just needleworkers and stitchers sharing their needlework. So it's kind of a fun play on words. Do a search, check it out. There's lots of great needleworkers out there with maybe similar projects or styles. I definitely recommend checking it out. I enjoy watching Flosstube a lot. Luna says, I've seen people do cross stitch that looks like a Thomas Kincaid painting. Have you done this kind before? No, I haven't. It is called full coverage and I have no interest in doing it. It is gorgeous, but I think I would lose interest. I do follow one floss tuber. I think she's in the UK, and she does a lot of full coverage and they're beautiful. It just, wow, that's a lot of stitching. Stacy, are you going to purchase the upcoming scrappiness book from Lori Holt? Maybe. I know I answered this in the questions. I said that, but I probably will. I have her other books, so probably. Kay, will these two subjects, cards and stitching, be together now or on separate channels? They're going to stay on this channel. This is my hobby, and I didn't want to start another separate channel. I already have another one for planning, and I did not want to manage 3 different channels. This is going to be a once weekly kind of recap fun thing, and so it will be here. Sean says, would you mind saying what fabric, the count, and if you're stitching 1/2 or 1/1, etc.? Yes, I will. When I show you my projects, I will make sure and do that from now on. Donna, in the future, will you have any lives with your stitching or quilting? If there's enough interest, I would love to. I would be happy to do that. So definitely let me know in the comments. If you would like to see a live, like maybe once a month or something, or have me do this, me do Flosstube live, I would be happy to. We could answer questions right there. So let me know. It probably wouldn't be Sunday mornings at 7 a.m. We could adjust that, but I would definitely be down for that. Susan, do you use an AccuQuilt with dies to cut some of your quilts, blocks, or pieces? No, I don't. I don't have one. Cynthia wants to know, do you know the length of the finished hive rules? That's going to depend on the fabric. For mine, I'm using 25 count antique white Lugana, so it will be 5 5/8 wide by 22 inches in height. Again, I cannot stress enough, I use the Fat Quarter Shop cross stitch calculator all the time to figure out the size of my finished project, because sometimes it does make me adjust what fabric I'm going to use if I want it to be a certain size. Connie, she wants to know how I cross stitch without a hoop. Annie wants to know that, and Karen wants to know that as well. So I stitch in hand most of the time. I do use when I was trying to stitch on the linen, I was using a hoop, which did help. But I prefer stitching in hand, and I use the sewing method. I've had a lot of requests to show that, so I do think I will probably be filming a video or a short tutorial for that in June. I already know what project. I'm going to be using a pattern that's free from Fat Quarter Shop. I think I'll show you that with the Boo Crew sew along. There is a sew along. The stitch along. And I'm going to show you that. I have to be really careful about what pattern I do show, because it can't be something obviously that is a purchase, but that is a free pattern. They are looking for donations. I think that is, or is that a purchase one? You guys, I can't remember. I do need to do something that is free. So definitely I will be doing that in June. Annie, oh no, I already did that. Susan wants to know what day you do this. I kind of answered that earlier. From now on, they will go live Sundays at 7 a.m. Central Time. Christina, can we see the back of one of your cross stitch projects? I always feel like mine are a mess, so I'm curious about others. And she also wants to know if I keep several needles threaded with different colors of floss, or do you just use one needle? So I will show you the back of a couple projects. This is the summer home from Fat Quarter Shop. This is the back. That's the front. I was going to show you that in my finishes, which I still will. But I wanted to show the back of a project. So mine is probably not as neat as some. In fact, there's a few little long strands that I need to snip off so they don't show through when I do the finish. But that is the back of that one. Oh, I have some fuzz. And let's see, I'll show you that. So that's a 14 count Ada back. And then I did have another finish, which I'll show in a little bit. But here is the back of a 25 count Lugana. So I hope that that's what you wanted to see. And then as far as keeping several needles threaded, I know I answered her in the comments. I did try that, and then I forgot what color I had threaded. So no. Sometimes I will keep, like, if I have red, the Heartfelt Charity quilt along that I have in patriotic colors, I did keep one in a different color because I knew I was coming back to it, and then I had one in navy. But other than that, I really don't do multiple needles. And Nalita, I hope I said your name correctly. What do you do with your creations once you make them? I turn them into finishes. I don't have a ton yet, but we will be having quite a few coming up as I finish some of these projects, but that is what I'm going to do, and I will be showing some finishes next. So that's the first thing we're going to do. I'm going to go over finishes and FFOs. If you don't know what FFO stands for, it's a finally finished object. So in my first floss tube, gosh, sorry guys, I shared my Bats and Boos from Fat Quarter Shop. This was stitched on a linen. So this is the project I said I stitched on linen. Get my hands out of the way. I turned mine into a little baby pillow. So this measures 7 inches. I did do an envelope back with a zipper. This particular pillow I did not film, but there's going to be 2 more, and it's just going to be kind of part of that. So I'll be finishing Summer Home the same way. But I just picked a fig tree fabric for the back. Oh, I got some little string I need to cut off. I like a hidden zipper background. I love zippers. I think it makes your pillow look nicer, whether it's a throw pillow or a little baby pillow. If it's a super tiny baby pillow, I'm not going to put a zipper in it. But I did make a pillow insert. So if you saw my first floss tube where I shared my patriotic pillow, I did do a pillow insert in here. And that's because if I want to, if I have another finish this size, I can take this little pillow insert and put it in a different pillow. This is only going to be out during Halloween season. But I loved how it turned out. I thought it was super cute. And so that is my FFO. I did, just like my patriotic pillow, I want to show you this. To protect my stitches, I did put some fusible interfacing on the back of my stitched piece before I made it into the pillow cover. And I will be sharing that in the video as well as what I use. So that is my only fully finished project. Next week we're going to have lots more. And this was a free stitch along at Fat Quarter Shop. I'm pretty sure Boo Crew is, now that I think that, because the Boo Crew is this year's. This was Bats and Boos last year's. I also did the quilt. I wanted to have, you can see my quilt. It's right there. I haven't got the binding on it, so that'll be next week, and I'll show you them together. I love, love, love it. I've had it back forever, and I've been lazy. I don't like doing the binding. So that is my full finish. Now we're going to go into finishes this week, which I did give you that little preview. This is Summer Home by Fat Quarter Shop, which is a paid for PDF. If you want to now, you can buy the full chart is available. It was a stitch along during Stitch Mania. I'm turning this into a little pillow that I'll use to decorate in here. I did add those 3 little teeny tiny hearts. So those, I know last week I showed you this one. I did add these remaining ones once the rest of the chart was revealed. I kind of thought I would, but then I decided to hold off because I wasn't sure what this side looked like. And then I just added these 2 up here. Just like card making, I have to have my little hearts. But I love the colors. I love how this turned out. Don't be afraid to change the colors either. So if you like the chart and you want to do it in a different color, go for it. I think that would be awesome. So that is my finish there. My other full finish, I needed a small project. I needed something else to finish. So probably my only 2 full finishes for Stitch Mania will be Summer Home. And then I did do the bonus chart from Hive Rules, which is super cute. I'm going to turn it into a little oblong pillow. I'm wanting to do like a little bowl or a bowl full of little bee themed pillows, or I'll just tuck them into a tiered tray or something in my kitchen when I put up my bee decor after I take down the patriotic decor after the 4th of July. But isn't it cute? So this and Summer Home will be the pillows that I am going to be using in the tutorial for my pillows. And they will both will have removable pillow forms from them. Okay guys, let me make sure that I have everything. Let's go through WIPs. So Summer Home is off of the WIP list now. It's done. I am still working on hive rules. So I showed you the bonus chart that I did finish. And then of course, this is the hive rules. And this was that question that I received, how long it's going to be. So I cut my fabric. Maybe it's easier to show you this way. See, you can kind of see how much is left. So how much more I have left to do. This is 25 count Lugana, 2/2. So I definitely will try to answer that from now on. Now this is the project 2. I did bobbinate some of my colors on some plastic bobbins because I thought, oh, well, the paper ones I used to use are kind of crummy. So I will use these. I even used the little stickers to put the numbers on. I don't know. Just because I had them. And then I'll show you how I actually keep them in my bag. Yeah, that's messy, but I don't care. So I keep everything in these little bags. These are from Simon Says Stamp. I already had tons of them. My chart fits in here. I forgot to show you the chart. So this is what we're making. This will also be in my June plans, which I'm going to go over in a bit. I fully intend to finish this one first. I also have some other bee themed charts in here. And then of course, this is the finish I showed you. That's the bonus chart that comes with hive rules, which I think is awesome. So that is hive rules. And this will be in my June list as well. Next up, we have the Heartfelt Charity Quilt Along. This is the other thing that will be a June project because I really want to get caught up because I don't know if the rest of it's released this month, but I did end up finishing this whole, first row. And this is 14 count Ada. I really love this fabric. I picked all of these colors. I've had several requests. Carrie wanted me to, I've listed the colors on Instagram and I think in last week's video down in the description below of what I'm using. So you can find that there, but Carrie wanted me to tell you exactly what colors I used in what. So in the description down below today, I will go through row 1, what I used and what I used for the border. I'm using a combination of Aurifloss and DMC, and as I mentioned, it is simply what I had in my stash. I did not buy anything special for it. I knew I wanted a patriotic feel. Here's what the whole chart will look like. I think, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think this Friday, the fourth row of hearts will be released. So I think we maybe have June and July left for this one. And that is a free stitch along. They just ask for a donation to Make-A-Wish. Yes, I know what I need to talk about. We need to talk about my chalk squared. So I've told you my struggles. I've told you my struggles with fabric. I bought the chalkboard black in 28 count because 28 count is the equivalent of 14 count, except it's little tiny holes. I thought that was going to be so much better than 32 count, and it's not. I got mad. I did try to put some more stitches in it because I know I hardly had anything to show you. This is the chart I'm talking about. And this is just the middle. It actually will end up looking like this. And I love, love, love it. I still love, love, love it. So you guys know how I said don't be an Ada hater. I ordered some Ada. 14 count chalkboard Ada. I love this chart. I want to stitch this chart. Linen made me mad. The 28 count made me mad. I have stitched in my first floss tube. I showed you the all the trimmings stitch along from Fat Quarter Shop. I stitched on 14 count chalkboard black Ada and I loved it. I did not have any trouble with it at all. I'm going to stop being a snob. I'm going to use 14 count Ada because I love this chart and I want to do this chart. I have loved, loved, loved this forever. and I don't want my fabric to be the reason I don't stitch it. So I ordered it. It's in the area, but with the holiday weekend, it won't be delivered till Tuesday. So this will be a June stitch as well. Next up, I did have a new start this week. I showed you these last week. This is Land That I Love. I started this one only. And then I'm stitching on 25 count mushroom Lugana 2/2. I did want to show you this. So I did figure out the finish size is going to be 3.5 by 3.5 on 25 count mushroom Lugana. And this is what I've gotten done. Now, this would be completely done. I had to rip out the entire border. Nope. I had to rip all of it out and restart. So I actually stitched the border first on part of it. And you know what, you guys, I'm so grateful. I was like, I just want to stitch some of the words. So I'm glad I did, but I didn't line up the words correctly. And so I got down here to the love and I realized I wasn't lining up. And I was like, oh my gosh. Well, the easiest thing to rip out would be the border. I'd already had a couple of mistakes in the border anyway that I'd ripped out and I hadn't restitched. And I don't know why. Borders are easy, but I was having an issue. So I ripped it out and I restitched, and I only have a little bit left. In fact, I fully expect to probably finish this evening or today, whatever. But I'm excited. It's going to be a little teeny tiny mini pillow. I have a Rae Dunn truck that I purchased that I want to stick this in the back of. I think it'll be really cute for decor, and I'll post it on Instagram when I'm done. Maybe even show you the finish next week. So I also have the other two that I'll be stitching as well. Super quick, really cute. So if you have any interest in some patriotic, those are fun. If you saw my Instagram stories this week, I meant to go buy the floss I needed, and I got distracted and bought other things and not the floss and had to go back. Good times. So those will be a June stitch as well, and I fully intend to have those done really early. I think that's going to be that, and the Heartfelt Charity Quilt Along are the last patriotic things I'm going to do this year for time. We're going to start moving into fall, I think. I'm going to do my bee stuff and then fall. Then I did want to talk about any other WIPs that I had outstanding. I actually spent some time organizing this last week, and the only other WIP work in progress I have going, oh, and I forgot to grab the book it comes from. It's a quilt book by Camille Ross Kelly, but this is the Shine On, and it's going to be pretty big, you can see, and I believe this is a 28 count. I would have to look it up. I can't remember, you guys, but I started this a year ago. There's quite a bit more to do, and I forgot to get the book. I'll show it to you next week. This is going to be a June project as well. I want to get this done. I wanted to do it for my office. Isn't it pretty? I love it. The colors are gorgeous, and I will definitely look up the exact. In fact, I'm almost positive this is a 28 count. But it is an even weave, I believe, and because it stitches easy. I've had no trouble with this. It might just be the black. Since I know I can cross stitch on the chalkboard black, Ada, that's what we're gonna do. I guess I did think it was a good idea to bobbinate on the little floss drops here, but this is messy, but this is like another example of a ring. And I just keep my stuff all in a bag like this. But this cross stitch pattern does come in a quilt book. I have everything that Thimble Blossoms that Camille Ross Kelly does, so I had this, and I just think it'll be so beautiful, and I think it'll look nice with like summer home, and just kind of the same colors. So those are my WIPs, and from there we are going to talk about, let me look at my little outline, kitting and my June plans. So June plans, I've already told you, I'm going to do the Primrose. Oh, I forgot to tell you that was the Primrose Cottage, the patriotic charts. I'm going to finish those. I'm going to finish Hive Rules. And let me look here. Boo Crew will start in June, I think. So far, that's what they have it slated. I'm going to work on that. I'm going to do Chalk Squared on my 14 count chalkboard Ada, Shine On, Heartfelt, Stitch Along, and then the only like new start that I think I'm going to do until I finish up some of these others. So I do want to remind you about Boo Crew. This is what it's going to look like. It's going to be a mystery stitch along. You can buy, if you want to do the purple fabric, you can do that now. They have floss packs available. I didn't do the floss pack or the fabric. I know I mentioned this in my first video. This is 16 count Spooky Hollow Ada. That's what I'm going to stitch mine on. I'm not a huge purple decor for Halloween, but gray and black and orange is my jam. So this is what I picked. I did pick the 16 because I am going to make mine into a little oblong pillow. And 16 Ada is not hard to stitch on for me, so I did do that. And then I did get the classic Colorworks colors, and I just followed what Kimberly said she was doing. She got an extra of Colonial Copper and not the, I think they're mulberry colors. They're beautiful. Again, I'm just going to take the purple out of mine. So that will be one of my June stitches as soon as that is released. And I probably have something else I'll be adding, but I'm excited about it and I'm not going to share quite yet. And then the only other new start I'm going to do for June is Halloween Rules by Lizzie Kate. I have my little note here. So I am going to be stitching on 25 count Mushroom Lugana. My phone is ringing off the hook and I cannot figure out why. The finished size is going to be 7.5 by 29 3/8. So what it is all of these are individual charts. This is the free chart where you can stitch the little design up at the top and the border. And you can find that on LizzieKate.com. And then I did prep everything. So these are the charts that my friend Cassie shared with me. Here is my 25 count Mushroom Lugana prepped and ready to go. I zigzagged the edges. It's a long piece, y'all, because it's going to be a long chart. I'm really excited though. I think it's going to be cute. Kind of along the lines of Hive Rules. And then, oh, I haven't put them on a ring yet, but here are all my colors. That about went my coffee. Here are all my colors for that. So I have everything ready to go. It's all thrown in this bag. And that will be my one new start until I finish some of the other WIPs. So we shall see. Now, July will be dedicated for Christmas. So I really hope to get a good start on this stuff. I know I won't finish Halloween Rules. That's not going back in the bag. We'll do that later. Along those lines, not starting it. This will be a July project, but I have kitted out Christmas Rules from Lizzie Kate. Same thing. Oh, and I did put my ring in this one. I wonder why. Anyway, same thing. I have my size. I'm going to stitch it on 25 count Mushroom Lugana 2/2 as well. But that's for July. I just wanted to show I kitted it. While I was cutting fabric, I just cut all of it. Okay, you guys, that is my stitching for this week. Haul. I have none. Not really. One or two things, I guess. I know I mentioned earlier I was watching a lot of Java Girl Stitches, old videos, and she shared that this was a free chart from That's So Kelly. And it was so cute. So I went and downloaded it because I'm not stitching it right now, but I want to stitch it for Valentine's Day because how darling is that? So I did want to share that. I will share a link for the for her site where you can go to download that. While I was there, I did notice this chart. This is a paid for chart. It's a little picnic party. I love the little mouse with the watermelon. I actually have something I want to decorate with this. I've been looking for something with watermelon and I hadn't really found anything I loved, and I thought this was cute. I will say I thought this was kind of expensive for the size of this chart, but I did buy it because I thought it was cute. So I will link to that as well. that's it, I think. Oh no, it's not it for haul. Let me see. I'm gonna have to pause this because I completely forgot to bring the things in I wanted to share with you. Okay, I'm back. I knew I was forgetting something. So one other thing I bought, but I don't have it, is I signed up for the month-to-month Stitching with the Housewives through Fat Quarter Shop. So you're gonna get the floss and the pattern each month. You do have to buy your fabric. I'm going to be using, well, the same fabric I'm using for the Heartfelt Stitch Along. It's a 14 count Aida. I'm going to be making mine into pillows. They're all going to be the same size. So I'm going to make one pillow form and I'm going to switch it out month to month and use it for decor. It's going to be kind of rectangular. Then they have a circle little pattern with it as well. I don't know what I'm going to do with that yet, but when I do, I'll let you know. But I did sign up for that. So I guess that's going to start too in June. Those patterns stitch pretty quickly though, so I'm excited. It's like all sunflowers, and I believe the June release is August. So you're stitching ahead always. So if you're interested in that, I will have a link in the description below. The other thing is I wanted to, oh shoot, sorry Odin. I wanted to show what I use to stitch. So the first thing is, this is my lap desk from Amazon. I will share a link to it. I set this in my lap when I am stitching. Your phone goes here. And then I did get this Stitchy stand from Fat Quarter Shop. It's by Lori Holt. Your pattern goes in here. Sometimes I put something back behind it, but then I just use like a little magnet board if I need to keep track of where I am. But I put this on my lap and it works so good. I used to just stitch in my lap and it was hurting my neck. So I use this, and you guys, it has increased my productivity. So I will have links to both of these in the description below. I just wanted to show that. I was thinking about it when I was stitching the other day, and so I thought I would share. So not really a lot for haul this week. Quilting finishes. So I didn't get as much quilting finished. In fact, that's what I have slated to do today since I have the day off. So I will probably have a lot more to share next week. But I did finally get the binding on my Spring Brook Blossoms. I know I shared this. I do have some photos. I am going to try to put a photo in here. I cannot figure out my direction, you guys. No. I'm going to put a photo up on the screen because I did take photos of this, and I will have photos on Instagram. But I have the binding. It's all done. It's beautiful. The edges look pretty. I use scrappy binding. You can see it's just different all the way around, and I love it. So that is completely done. I'm so glad. I can mark that off of my quilts that need to be finished list. Works in progress. This video has run really long. I'm probably not going to switch around today. I did not get a ton of blocks done. I did manage to get 2. So let me grab that. I'm just going to show it here. So I only worked on the Riley Blake because I'm trying to catch up. They released, I will show. They released the setting pattern. I do think I'm going to use this. I bought fabric for it. I guess that was my haul. The background fabric. I am going to do this, and I hope to have the rest of the blocks and all of these blocks at least pieced. Maybe not the whole background pieced, but have everything individually pieced by next week. Let's cross our fingers because I would like to get this shipped off to Knot and Thread. So the first block I did was block number 10. This is Windblown. These are all free blocks from Riley Blake. And Windblown, here's my Windblown block. I didn't do it exactly like the pattern. And I think they had they had 3 colors here. I used 2 to do that pinwheel. I'm going to tell you guys, I was pretty impressed with my corners. There are sometimes you quilt points. There are sometimes that you piece and the points are fire. And there's sometimes where you want to throw your block across the room. When I pieced this, I was like, dang, I should do all my blocks today because apparently I'm doing great. But I love it. I thought it was really pretty. The other one I finished was the Argyle Square, which I totally love. I thought this one was really cute. And this was block 12. I went out of order. 11 is cut but not sewn. I tried to get it done in time for the video, but I did not. And so this is that one. Actually, I think it goes like this. Let me back up. There we go. And I kind of am digging, excuse me, the gray, red, and white theme. I will tell you this, this is that new fabric I shared with you that isn't being released until November from Camille Ross Kelly. And I'm using all her fabrics, or her and her mom's fabrics, past collections for this, and I am mixing in some of her new that I bought the fabric scraps for. So I'm really, really excited about that. I thought it was so pretty. And yes, do you see how the little ticking stripe all goes the same direction? I was super intentional about that. I did not want it going all weird and wonky. I wanted them all going at a diagonal. So that was intentional. Those are the only 2 quilt blocks I got done. I have a lot more things I wanted to share with you, but I didn't get anything done with it. So hopefully that will be next week. Next week I will have some giveaways for you, so stay tuned for that. I know I said I would get those. I just didn't have time to get it organized for today, but I am going to offer some giveaways next week. I had a request for my fabric stash. I posted that on my YouTube community page. I had a lot of questions about, or a lot of comments about it. I did have a few questions. I tried to answer those on that post, but definitely check that out. I may even try to insert one right here so you can see my wall of fabric. I do store them on boards. I spent quite a lot of time last summer. I bought them. I sorted my fabric. I figured out how many boards I needed, and I really was intentional with that. And so I sorted my fabric. I still have a little bit left to do. It's in my guest room. So that is that. I think that is everything I have to share with you this week. I feel like it was a lot because I had a lot of questions. I totally don't mind answering them. Now that I answered a lot of those, I probably won't have quite as many every week. I don't know. If you have questions, leave them down below. Next week, I am going to show you my planning for June, like my actual planner and how I've planned out for June for cross stitch and quilting. I will have a lot more quilting to share with you. I have a lot that a lot in progress and a lot that I want to get shipped off. And I'm going to be sharing how I create my label block, if it's not next week, the week after, for quilt backings, because I'm going to have about 2, maybe 3 quilts to send off to be quilted. And I guess that's about it. So I hope everyone has enjoyed this video. Thank you again. It means the world to me for everyone who leaves a comment. Let me know what you're working on, and I will see you guys next week. Bye. I almost forgot. This is my fur baby. This is Odin. Say hi. Look at the camera. Look up here. He's being really needy. But this is my baby. So when you hear me talking about Odin, and he's literally right under my feet the whole time I'm filming this, this is him. Right? He doesn't know what to think about this. Okay, have a great day, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my channel, hit that like button, and don't forget to click the notification bell to always be notified when I have a new Flosstube video. Thank you guys so much for joining me today, and we'll see you next time.